Welcome to the implant track session, War Stories, Wise Ideas, and Q&A. The session's a panel format. As you see, we have 3 folks here. I'll briefly introduce each panelist. They'll take 3 to 4 minutes to tell you their war story as their introduction, and then we'll go through the questions that we have. So our panelists represent 3 major verticals: professional services, government, and banking. Together, their operations have 143 million impressions, another 44 million in mail, and more than that in wide format. They also purchase an additional 13 million of print and 21 million in direct mail pieces. They have combined print budgets of over 13 million and postal budgets of over 15 million. On my far left is Ron Balderson. He's a print and logistics manager for Navy Federal Credit Union. He's been there since 2011. The Navy Federal Credit Union is the largest credit union in the world, with locations in Virginia, Florida, and California, as well as 245 branches worldwide. Ron ran his own commercial print shop for 23 years and was brought in to change the way the shop does business. Staci Hill, next up. She's the manager of building services at Freese & Nichols. They're a Fort Worth-based engineering and architectural firm. Hill's been with the implant for 3 years, transforming it from a tiny shop to a thriving department that's now generating revenue. They're forging community relationships along the way with what many implants would consider competitors. You'll hear a shark reference a little later, and she'll talk a little bit about the hedgehog too. Tim Smith is the Bureau Director for the P&D for the state of Wisconsin. He's been the Bureau Director for the last 7 years, and he's focused the operation on service obsession. He's a 23-year state employee, and he's run both the print and the mail sides of the operation. He's a former goldsmith, so he's continually adjusting the operation so it runs optimally. First up will be Tim to share his war story.
You know, over the last few years, we have had declining volumes on the print side, particularly in our publishing shop. So we started looking around for where we could get more volume, bring volumes back up, and web to print became kind of an obvious choice for us. Last year, I began a procurement for web to print and was told that our organization was not allowed to work outside of the state capitol in Madison. Actually, we could work outside of Madison, we just couldn't expend any funds to do that. So whether it was labor or hardware, we couldn't use that because we paid for it with state dollars. So we went into a process this fiscal year to try and change that statute to allow us to go outside and work with other government entities, school districts, municipalities, that kind of thing. And a week ago today, decision came down that we could not. So now we're reorganizing ourselves as to how we move forward, how we find more volume, and how we interact with our customers to keep our head above water, basically. So that's what we're working with right now. In our particular organization, state of Wisconsin, it's difficult to market ourselves. It's difficult to define who the customer is, and it's difficult to get to them. So how we do that is going to be interesting. We're looking for some smaller software solutions that we may be able to apply within the capital city in Madison. We're looking at downsizing some of our equipment, downsizing some of our staff. So that's what we're working on right now.
When I took over our print shop 3 years ago, we're an engineering firm, so we produce a lot of large format construction plans for water pipelines, sewers, roadways, dams, bridges. So we have a lot of big scale things that our firm works on. But when I took over, I had 2 print shop guys that lived in a 680 square foot box with no windows, no nothing. And they just existed down there, and they were happy to produce and click off paper. That's all they did. And so I wouldn't want to live in that environment. So we quickly realigned the print shop and moved them into the mail room where the other half of my team was. And Since that day, we've been challenging corporate on a regular basis to let us keep growing our industry. And we over the last 3 years have refreshed all of our equipment. We've got a new cutter, new digital presses. We've brought in a laminator and a mounting equipment. We have brought in an ultraviolet UV coater. We're the only one in Fort Worth that has it, which has allowed us to generate revenue because we've gone out to the school districts and started glossing over their football programs. So we have started generating revenue over the last 3 years, which has also allowed us to keep growing our business. So we fight every day to keep growing, but it's been successful so far. So we're enjoying it.
Can I ask you to take 1 more minute to explain the hedgehog and the shark?
Well, I feel like we are in the Shark Tank all the time, and I'm sure you guys feel like you're in the Shark Tank too, just trying to survive. Freeze and Nichols has a hedgehog concept, which is to be the very best at client services. So every time we're presenting or doing conferences, we always talk about our hedgehog, and we want to deliver that superior customer service. So I always say that the hedgehog took down the shark, and most recently, and you'll probably hear me talk about it too, for 15 some years, we've charged 50 cents a click for color. And I just fought the big battle and got corporate to drop our prices down to $0.25 a click, which is a huge win for when you're talking about city governments that don't have dollars to spend. I'm going out there and saving our clients money. So I feel like I really took on the Shark Tank this year and beat them.
In 2011, after I had sold my commercial business, I was asked by one of the VPs in the credit union, which is just outside of Washington, D.C., to consider coming on board and helping. When I arrived at the print shop on day one, I had found they had just sold the only decent press they had because they thought it was costing too much money. Tiles were missing on the floor. Ceiling tiles were out. The morale was pretty much at the bottom. There was no measurement system at all. So basically, I took the entire organization, I tackled it on 3 different fronts, 1 on information, 2 on morale, and 3 on equipment. I was able to justify bringing equipment on board after analyzing the volumes I could. I found there was plenty of work. The problem was they couldn't do anything. And so we upgraded the equipment. We brought an Indigo on board to do some of the press work. We added additional equipment to our folder, and we were able to start increasing the volumes. What that automatically did is it started affecting the morale, because the morale was low because they felt the print shop was going to close. And once they saw some equipment coming in, and I was fortunate enough being a bank, there wasn't a financing issue there, and so we were able to bring the equipment in and prove to the people we were keeping the print shop. We started measuring the volumes and actually increased the volume, actually more than tenfold of the volume we were producing through the shop. I also have 5 buyers working for me, so it was a challenge to get them to work with the print shop. But I was able to politely get them to start sending the work down to the print shop as well, rather than just sending it directly outside. And that has worked very well. The team works very well. The additional thing I did is I brought in a customer rep. Much of our volume was coming in through email, left in person's private email boxes, and you know what happens when somebody goes on vacation. You can't find the job, then it's late. So I eliminated that. We have a master email box. We're considering doing some more things with the information flowing into the print shop. And then we also had 3 different locations within our warehouse where the copiers were in more or less a closet, the wide format was in another closet, and then we had the print shop. I was able to consolidate all those and make it more or less run like a commercial shop, where it comes in the front door, moves through the operation, and out the back door to supply. And that has proved to work pretty well. Plus bringing in a real estimating invoicing system has been a tremendous help. And we were able to use that information as well to look at the volumes and see what was being done and tracking the job through. It was very important that we track the jobs and get them through on time. And with the estimating system and the tracking system, we were able to do that. So we were able to pretty much accomplish the success on all three fronts.